I don't want to meet no smart woman, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to beat. I don't want them figuring out my games. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm trying to bust a nut.
Welcome to the Empty Opinions Podcast, bitch.
All right, everybody, I'm back. It's another solo episode. It's episode 99. Episode 100 is going to be a little cool, a little special. So, and I didn't want to get a guest for 99. It felt weird. So, I just said, you know what? Fuck it. Let me just do another solo episode. I know people don't necessarily like those. It's just me. If you like me, it's great. But, I usually have a good guest on. But, listen, after episode 100, there's going to be a lot of cool guests that I'm thinking of getting. So, yeah, let's just vibe out for this second. Yeah, people know I'm the best in this shit. Can't no one compare. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Empty Opinions Podcast with Eladio Polanco. My name is Eladio Polanco, and this is a podcast where no topic is taboo. I mean, we just talk about whatever. When it's just me, I usually just talk about the kinds of things I want to talk about. It could be pop culture. It could be my life. It's usually a mix of the two. And that's really what this podcast is about. I mean, I don't really want to do any, any housekeeping up front. I mean, it's all the basic shit. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Eladio Talks, right? ELADIO Talks. The link for that is going to be in the description. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're listening to this, leave a 5-star rating if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts. And that's about it. It's not much. Just support the podcast in any way you can. I would really appreciate it. And I guess since this is an Empty Opinions podcast, you know what I mean? It's a podcast for this Empty Opinions brand. And something interesting happened in the Empty Opinions universe. Might as well kind of talk about it. This is just crazy. I mean, look. I did an empty reaction. So on the YouTube channel, I do empty reactions to different songs and shit, right? In order to get views to the channel, right? Because, that's one of the best ways you can get traction to your YouTube channel. And obviously I want traction and, just doing podcasts isn't really going to do it. So, to get exposure, it's almost like ads or it's almost like ads or just marketing for this YouTube channel to the reactions here on YouTube where people can discover it. So, I'm doing empty reactions, and I decided to do a reaction to a new Tokyo's Revenge song, right, that he dropped. It's a new single called Nothing Lasts Forever. One important detail that I kind of missed while I was doing the reaction, but did become aware of in the editing process and added it to the video, was that apparently this song was about his dead friend. But hold on, let me back up a little bit. Who is Tokyo's Revenge? He's this new artist who's really, popping, and at least in my eyes, is blatantly copying everything about Triple X Tentacion. And not just one song or like a couple of songs that match a certain style of X's, right? Because that's the thing. If it was just one song, like I remember I heard that song Gotham by Tokyo's Revenge. And I was just like, okay, that's a good song. It reminds me of a Triple X song. It has a lot of those things with like the weird voice changes and flow changes and really quirky delivery, right? Like I thought all those things were present in this song. But I said, you know what, whatever. It's just one song. I'm not mad at it. I can obviously see the influence, but it is what it is, right? And if that was just kind of like a starting point for this guy, I would have never been mad because there's so many different artists that were influenced by X. Or there's so many different artists that start out really influenced by an artist, and then by a certain point, they evolve to their certain, sound that they want to do. Or they just stick to one thing that artist did that they liked, and then they add, they build upon it, right? That's what I thought Tokyo's Revenge was going to do. I thought he was just going to keep making those kinds of songs and kind of just build off of that initial, influence on his sleeve that was portrayed in Gotham from Triple X. But then I did an empty reaction to his new song called Nothing Lasts Forever, which, like I said, is about his dead friend. So there is a certain amount of emotion that song carries. But call me a psychopath because regardless of that or not, I was able to notice something that really bothered me. And that was just that, that song, the style of that song was just like a guitar, like an emo guitar song. That's what it was, right? It did nothing last forever. Like it was singing whatever, what kind of song. that sounds like. And I'm sure you're thinking of an artist that did that, right? That was really successful. And I think his name might have started with the letter X, or maybe, I don't know. Yes, obviously fucking Triple X Tentacion. That's one of the things that was really interesting about his progression as an artist, that he started really aggressive with the type of music he was making. And then, in a very unique way, he phased out of that and started doing more mellow music, right? And that was his progression, and that's a progression that I've only really seen in Triple X. You know what I mean? In terms of completely switching the style and then kind of staying in the mellow side of things. That's what Triple X was doing until it was unfortunately, killed. So when I heard this song by Nothing Lasts Forever, mind you, this is a first reaction, right? I was reacting to the song. I was giving my raw reaction and opinion. I was really angry when I saw that not only did he copy the aggressive X's style, he was copying the mellow X's style. And that really made me mad. And I went off in that empty reaction and I put it out. And I knew it was going to get some hate. But I mean, the amount of hate that video is getting is first of all, it's hilarious. But second of all, it's like a little bit concerning for the channel because I feel like it might be fucking with the algorithm. I won't really know until see if another video pops off, because there have been videos in the past that, at least for my subscriber count, have popped off. So I won't really know until if that never happens again, then I'll know that fucked up my channel. But for now, I thought, and that's the interesting thing about it, I started getting a lot of hate, a lot of dislikes, and a lot of comments saying, "The fuck is wrong with you, stupid motherfucker, go fuck yourself, this is an L, it's a big ass L, he's not copying anybody," right? And it's interesting because they always say, if you do shit online, you're bound to get hate at some point. And they say that that's like it's like a hate, like that hate, you have to be a certain type of person to be able to handle it. And I always was afraid of it. I always thought about it. I was like, yeah, maybe you'll be Chris. Like, if I get hate like that, what am I gonna do? Like, am I gonna, find, like, is it gonna be overwhelming? Am I gonna feel sad? Is it gonna affect my mood? The thing that I realized is that it truly didn't bother me. If anything, it was actually funny to get that much hate about something that I feel like I had a point with. And that's, I think, probably what's the most important. Like, deep down inside, I feel like there is an undeniability to my claims that not only did he copy Gotham style, but now he's copying, the mellow X's like style. And again, I understand the subject matter is very personal to him. Two things can be true. That can be true, and he can be copying X's style. That doesn't really absolve him of that, right? And I just pointed it out, and I started getting a lot of hate. And, one of my favorite things that I was doing was just kind of hearting every horrible comment that I was getting, right? Like heart. Like, I liked every one of those. And my pinned comment on that video is like just L. It's just the letter L. And it's so simple, straight to the point. I just loved it so much. But yeah, it was a lot of hate. A lot of people was like, oh, it's just an influence, whatever. I understand what you guys are saying. But at the same time, I have this weird feeling that those are just X's fans who are now looking for somebody who makes that kind of music, and now they're supporting Tokyo's Revenge. And in that way, that Tokyo's Revenge guy, or Kyoto's Revenge like he is on Instagram, is very, like, smart. You know what I mean? Because in that way, like, somehow he was able to gain those fans. I was like, oh, shit, that's a very good thing to have. That's a very good thing to have, like, those kind of fans on your side that are going to defend you no matter what for this fucking, as one of the comments put, you got under 200 subscribers. Nobody gives a fuck with you. And that's the other thing. If there was a lot of people that left long comments and that shit. I didn't read that shit. I mean, that was like, I read the first line maybe, but they all kind of said the same shit, which is what made me, probably another thing why I didn't really give a fuck about what they were saying. It's because it sounded very hive-mindish. The comments I did appreciate, like, seriously, were the ones that weren't being aggressive, instead trying to explain and point out their own point of view. They were, like, being kind of nice about it. They were like, I don't know, man. I think I get what you're saying, but you got to see it this way. He's the influence. That was one of his biggest idols. I understand all that, but you can't copy two styles from one artist. That's my whole point. You got to look at things in context. It wasn't just that this song sounded like an X song. It's not like nobody has ever done is strumming the guitar and singing very emo-ish, right? It's the fact that now he's done it, at least from what I could tell, twice. Two completely different styles that both go to a certain artist. That's not a coincidence anymore, I don't think. And that's what kind of bothered me a little bit. And the fact that these could be Triple X fans that are now following him does give credence to my other theory that I had, that this guy was just kind of, now that X, is dead, so now he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to carry on that legacy. I'm going to carry on that trajectory that X was going in. And I just think that's disgusting. Like, leave that alone. He's already, it's a tragic death. He's a legend. Just leave that alone and come up with your own fucking trajectory. Don't steal somebody else's. Even if, and I saw somebody in a comment was like, he's trying to take on X's legacy. Did X, ask him to carry on his, legacy? Were they friends? I'm pretty sure they weren't friends. Tokyo's Revenge and Triple X were not friends, right? It's like, it will be different. Like, the Kid Leroy in Juice WRLD, apparently Juice WRLD was like he was what's the term, like shadowing him, I guess, or just no the Kid Leroy was shadowing Juice WRLD. There was like a mentorship going on between both of them, and then the Kid Leroy has made some songs that sound a lot like Juice WRLD, and you can kind of criticize him for that, but even then, if they were like close, they knew each other, then there probably might have been some understanding, and he kind of felt like, okay, I can do this since I knew him and he was mentoring me as an artist. And even then, that's not even a good comparison, because the Kid Leroy has gone in a slightly different, trajectory than Juice WRLD was doing. Like, the Kid Leroy is now doing, like, more R&B type music. Like, more R&B influenced melodic, songs. So, I don't know. I mean, that was, like, a controversy, I guess, for my channel. It was interesting to see that many dislikes. Dislike to like ratio. Like I said, I don't know if that's going to fuck up my channel forever. I don't know how the algorithm works. I know you need likes for the shit to get like thrown out there, but I don't know if getting dislikes fucks up your channel. I don't really think so, because I know like channels like even like H3 or like any channel that comes at like a Leafy or something get a lot of dislikes, but they still keep going. Like I know a lot of channels on YouTube that thrive off of the dislikes, so I don't think that's gonna fuck up my channel necessarily. But that was a fun thing that happened. That was interesting. That Tokyo's Revenge controversy, if you want to call it that, but. Yeah, that was one thing that happened, in the Empty Opinions universe. But in terms of pop culture, I mean, one thing that really stood out to me is one of the wildest stories of the year. I think one of the most egregious from the outside looking in, right? Obviously, we don't know exactly what was happening, but this whole Malik Beasley situation with Larsa Pippen. It's an insane situation, dog. If you don't know, Malik Beasley is fucking, married, has a wife. And Larsa Pippen was, I don't know if they're still married. Maybe, I think it is ex-wife of, Scottie Pippen. I do believe like Future took Larsa Pippen from Scottie Pippen. And that was a funny story too, because apparently like Scottie Pippen didn't sign Future's paragraph or, photograph, didn't give him a signature. Like he didn't sign his shit. I don't know if that's true. Maybe that's an urban legend, but I heard that. That's kind of how I've known of Larsa Pippen. So here's the players in this. The wife, Malik Beasley, the basketball player. The wife of Malik Beasley and Larsa Pippen. Those are the three players in this fucking wild situation. And I looked into it, and this is fucking crazy. So apparently Larsa Pippen posted a picture. It all started with Malik Beasley commenting under Larsa Pippen's picture, "Let me take you out on a date." And right away, that's wild, because the people under his comments were like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? You got a wife. This is a public message. This is not, you're not DMing Larsa Pippen. You're commenting under her picture for everybody to see. What the fuck are you talking about? If this situation stopped there, right? Like if this situation didn't go much further, like if it stopped right fucking there, it would be like wild on its own. But then it keeps going. Then apparently like a couple weeks go by and there's a picture of Larsa Pippen and Malik Beasley just holding hands. Meanwhile, the wife is like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. We're married. And I'm like, and this is where I believe what Larsa Pippen recently said. She was like, don't believe, there's more to the story. Don't believe what you see, whatever the fuck. Because it's just such an egregious, like such a wild situation. Like there has to be something else going on that he would be doing other shit publicly. You know what I mean? Like, it's public. It's not like he's not that stupid. Either he's just a fucking disciple of Future, which ironically enough, Larsa Pippen knows very well, and he's just doing that shit to be toxic and knows he's fucking with his wife. Like, mentally, he's doing that for that reason. Or there's something we don't know, most likely the latter, but it's just, from the outside looking in, that is a wild situation. Like, to just do that, to have a wife and not only comment under, this very famous lady's picture, but also get photographed together holding hands. That's what's so wild. It wasn't like they were even together. They were holding hands, which is even more incriminating. So there's definitely got to be something going on with the wife. Either the wife is trying to ransom him, or like they're having marital issues. They haven't officially divorced yet because of whatever reason. Apparently the wife is filing for divorce, but there must have been something where they probably already agreed to the divorce, and everything that was happening out there, it was just because he knew he wasn't going to get back with his wife. So it was like, you know what, fuck it, let me just go all out and do whatever. But it's just funny that also Larsa Pippen is involved in this, because apparently somebody that gets passed around a lot. And it's funny, yeah, it's so random that Larsa, the ex-wife of Scottie Pippen, is the one that's embroiled in all this fucking drama. And the fact that Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, it's like for the streets, I guess you could call it. I don't know. But that was a funny situation that I saw on social media. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, yeah, Malik Beasley is a wild boy. All right, going back to personal shit that's happened to me. I've been experiencing this thing. This is really interesting because, this is a thing. This is an idea that I've heard a lot of people talk, a lot of women specifically talk about, that I as a guy never understood and also never experienced. But like the experience of a guy meeting a girl who's smarter than them, and apparently how that's very, like, that puts guys off. I always, in the back of my head, like, even theoretically, I'm like, I don't think I would dislike that, because I could say I'm cerebral in the way that I just think a lot, right? I'm an overthinker. I always think about everything. So like, and I like learning through talking. So the idea of meeting somebody who's smarter than me and then me like learning from them was never some idea that like put me off. So I never understood when they would say like, yo, that shit as a guy that's emasculating. I'm like, really? Is it? Or you're just fucking really stupid? Like, is that what it is? They're just like guys, there's certain guys that are that fucking dumb, which there are. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that are really fucking stupid. So I can understand what they were like, they're like, I don't want to meet no smart woman, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to beat. I don't want them figuring out my games. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm trying to bust a nut. I don't want them to know that I'm trying to bust a nut and I'm doing fucking playing tricks on their minds and shit. What's that song? Shook Ones playing tricks on me. Anxiety playing tricks on me. Or wait, is that their Charlemagne book? I don't know. But I always thought that idea was interesting. And then I met a girl who I think is probably smarter than me. And now I'm just like, okay, now I understand what this might be too much for certain guys. Like, now I get it, right? But also, this is awesome, bro. Like, just meeting somebody who's smarter than you. And you know what it is, too? It's also my ego, because up until this point, I don't think I have talked to a woman. And, okay, this might sound a little bit misogynistic, but just know this has nothing to do with male, female. This is just my brain. Like, I just felt, and just in general, okay, I'm going to take the gender out, but I'm going to include the gender because it's specific to the conversation. So I just never felt like I met a woman who is smarter than me. And obviously being smart in intelligence and all that and knowledge, all that shit is subjective and it's not really real. You know what I'm saying? It's a fucking mirage. Nobody's really smarter than anybody. I understand. But just in basic layman's terms, I don't feel like I've met any woman that was smarter than me. And so, and to broaden it more so it doesn't sound as misogynistic as that could come off, I don't think I've met anybody who is smarter than me. I don't think. Even with the people I talk about, I just feel like when I talk to them, they might be interesting people. They might be on my same level. This is all in my head. Obviously, very egotistical. I know. I mean, this show is called Empty Opinions with Lottie Blanco. It's about me. I'm narcissistic. Whatever. Let's move on. Let's not dwell in that. It's obvious. But, like, I just felt like I haven't really met that many people who are smarter than me until I met this girl. And we started talking about a lot of different shit. It was a lot of topics. And, like, I'm almost just in awe when I'm listening to her talk. Because it's like, like I said, I overthink a lot. I'm always thinking about every little thing that I see or, any idea that comes to my head. I explore it to its fullest extent, whatever. But there were certain things that she was telling me, like certain things we were talking about that I was like, what the fuck? I've never thought about it that way. And that's how, and look, it's not even about being smart or dumb or whatever. It's about new ideas that I've never explored, and that impresses me because I explore a lot of ideas inside this fucking wild ass noggin that I have, right? So even that, like she brought this new idea to me. I was like, damn, I never thought about that. I've never thought about that thing, and you just unlock this part of my brain, and now, I love thinking, so now my brain is running. It's like a hamster wheel in there that is now fucking going full speed, and I'm enjoying it. And that's where, like, I can understand why certain guys don't like smart women, because they don't want to think, and they think it's exhausting. And it can be exhausting, right? Like, thinking a lot can obviously be exhausting. Sometimes you got to kind of just chill and just do whatever. Watch a show or, fucking watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know. Watch the Big Bang Theory. That's another thing I want to talk about, but I'll talk about it later. Maybe another episode. But, for me, I do enjoy, even for a long time. Obviously, like I said, probably need a little bit of break sometimes, but just in general, I enjoy it. So, yeah, I can see how this is like, the people that like malt beverage. Maybe this is a Dominican thing. Malta Morena, Malta India, whatever the fuck, Malta Goya, whatever malts beverage you drink. It's a very like required taste. It's a taste that's not for everybody. You know what I mean? The same thing with like I forget what it's called, but there's this food that is very expensive that it's some people like it, some people hate it. There's a lot of foods like that where it's very like you either love it or hate it. That's kind of probably how it is with smart women. You either love it or hate it, and I'm in that minority where like I love that shit. I need more of that shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's an experience that I had recently. But also, let's go back to pop culture and let's talk about probably one of the biggest news of the year, excluding obviously Corona and the election. Those are the main two, and all the celebrity. That's okay. Maybe not one of the most important stories of the year. Definitely one of the most important business and entertainment stories of the year. HBO Max has single-handedly, or AT&T if you want to broaden it, has single-handedly destroyed the movie theater industry, right? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're not that big of a movie fan, because if you're a movie fan, you know about this shit, right? So apparently, HBO Max is the new streaming service from AT&T and Warner Brothers, where like their take on Netflix and shit is like HBO plus a whole bunch of other shit. They recently announced that for 2021, every single one of their big movies that they had planned for next year, for the first month, is going to stream, if you have HBO Max already, for free, is going to stream on HBO Max for the full month. So it's going to be on HBO Max and movie theaters. So the future that we all didn't think was going to come this soon finally happened, where like a movie, like a really big movie, like Wonder Woman is going to start that shit off in December, where it's going to be in HBO Max and in movie theaters at the same time, right? Like that's the thing that everybody was like, yo, you need to do, like, at least, look, here's the thing. Here's how you split this. There's casual consumers and then diehard movie fans, right? Like film fans, you know what I'm saying? Film fans. Not movie fans, film fans, right? There's difference right there. There's a fucking weird, higher class shit, I guess. It separates the two. It's stupid, but there kind of is, right? So, like, movie fans, let's say the regular film, like the regular movie consumer was just like, I don't feel like going to the movie theater and paying $20 to watch a movie. That's why I don't even watch movies anymore. Put that shit on streaming. I want to watch it as soon as it comes out. That was the general consensus. And then the film fans were like, no, we can't do that. That will destroy the film industry, and we need to preserve movie theaters. We need to preserve the movie theater experience. That's just what it has to be, man. You can't argue with me. I only listen to whatever the fuck David Ehrlich and David Lynch say. Both Davids, the fucking the fucking self-obsessed fucking film fans and filmmakers, whatever the fuck. You know what I'm trying to say. That's what the film fans are saying. Hey, yeah, we don't want movie theaters to die, so we have to preserve it. And so those are the two. So obviously the response to this was mixed. The movie fans were like, "Oh, this is awesome! I can see Wonder Woman and all these big the Matrix 4, Judas and the Black Messiah, which I can't wait to see. Tom and Jerry, like all these movies, I can see it at home. Fuck yeah." And then the film fans is like, no, you just killed the theater experience. Movie theaters are done for good. This is a dumb and bad decision. here's where I stand, man. It's like it's just what's gonna happen. That's just what was going to happen eventually. This is where things were going in the first place. Everybody was predicting this shit. This is nothing new. Movie theaters were dying already, right? Like, if not for like specific like huge blockbusters like Endgame and shit and Joker, whatever the fuck, these really high grossing movies, Black Panther, these superhero movies were really the only ones were making a lot of money. But just in general, movie theaters were already dying. This kind of just pushed and expedited the process. So like, you can't be shocked. It's like, okay, it's here. You can be shocked it came that fast, but you can't be shocked that it actually happened. And two, which is more, that I need to see more people talk about. Movie theaters aren't going away, entirely. They're just obviously gonna change, and it's gonna be like a more niche thing where like people who want the movie theater experience are probably gonna be able to get it. But that's not gonna be everybody. And the movie theater, the movie theaters were trying to force everybody to be that specific type of person that goes out to a movie theater to see a movie. It's gotten to the point where like not everybody is like that. So now you have to do what the consumers want. The majority of them want that, right? Like be able to watch it at home. And then, movie theaters there's going to be a lot of movie theaters that die out. Unfortunately, it was all like, that's the thing. It was all going to happen regardless. So I don't understand the fucking outcry for it. It's like, HBO Max just said, what, fuck it, let's just take this gamble, which they're right in, because like I said, it was going to happen regardless. And now, specifically for HBO Max, how many people are going to sign up for that shit? You know what I'm saying like this big budget this fucking big blockbuster movies come out, right, in HBO Max, like Wonder Woman, that's a big movie. And they're like, if you get HBO Max, you can see it for free. And if you keep it for a whole year, you're going to be able to see all these other big movies. You know what I'm saying? Like The Matrix 4, Tom and Jerry. There's a whole other one, the new James Wan movie, which undoubtedly would have made a lot of money in the box office. So it's like, this was all going to happen, and it's not the official death of movie theaters. That's what I got to tell people. It's not the official death of movie theaters. Movie theaters are not going to completely die out. They're just going to become what they were already, in a way, were, and we're struggling to not be, and was just niche. Like, going to the movie theaters to watch a movie is a niche thing that not everybody's going to be able to do, and now that market of movie theaters is going to adjust accordingly. And, funny point, because you always got to point out hypocrisy in people, even though we're all hypocrites to a certain extent. But it's always fun to just point it out, at least for me. Do you remember when Tenet released in theaters and everybody was mad at Nolan for releasing a movie in theaters? It's a pandemic. You can't release a movie during the pandemic. That doesn't make sense. What's wrong with you, bro? You're so selfish. It's going to get a lot of people killed. And now that movie flopped, which a lot of people were celebrating, like, we told you shouldn't put it in theaters, right? Now that was actually the reason it failing, and the people who love the film theater experience, right? Those people not showing up to see Tenet, it's a reason why it's now everything is on HBO Max. So it's like, there's a little bit of a sweet irony right there for your head top. But yeah, man, the movie theaters are dying, and there's nothing really we could do about it. It was gonna happen eventually, you know what I'm saying? And HBO Max has kind of expedited that process. But that was something that was huge news, right? That was like, oh shit, yeah, it's happening. Everybody, it's like that meme where everybody's like getting ready because something's about to happen. Oh shit, let's go, everybody, let's go. Like grabbing the fucking radio, everybody's fucking freaking out at the family dinner table. That's what's happening with movie theaters and just the movie theater experience. It's funny. At least I got to work in a movie theater before they died. Exaggerating this. Before they died, right? Like, I'm glad I was able to work in a movie theater because it was really cool to see the behind the scenes of how movie theaters work, especially as a film fan myself. Like, just going around, just like after the movie's done, like looking at projectors and looking at how everything worked. It was fun, like the way that the trailer placements, all that shit. It was cool, and now they're dead. So what can you do? And now I think I want to end with this another piece of pop culture news, which isn't really that important, but I found it funny. It's not important at all. Not like the last story where it's literally, industry changing. Like, this is a change, is like, what's the term? A seismic change. That's what the movie theater shit was. This is not a seismic change at all, but it's just a funny story because there's so many things going on in this. So This is coming off the back. This story that I'm gonna talk about comes off the back of the whole controversy of like Harry Styles wearing a dress on Vogue, and like a lot of people criticizing that because they're killing masculinity and you can't wear a dress and this and that, whatever, right? Like that was a whole big news for last week. That was last week's like big topic, I believe, or maybe it was this week. I don't know. But I just remember everybody had their 2 cents on it. I'll probably have some thoughts on it, but it's too late now. I don't feel like talking about it. But it's based off on that, right? And how Candace Owens like called out Harry Styles. She was like the biggest one. And then Harry Styles was funny is that he responded back. He posted a picture of him with a dress with like "Bring Back Manly Men," like obviously trolling Candace Owens, which I thought was funny. Fuck troller, bro. Like I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just a funny thing to see. But what was crazy, what crossed the line, and what was just like hilarious, the way people's minds work. Noah Cyrus, of all people, Noah Cyrus, Miley Cyrus's little sister, posted on her story, yeah, who gives a fuck what a nappy ass hoe, what a nappy ass hoe has to say about this shit, or like, yeah, Harry Styles, tell that nappy ass hoe, or that. Bro, mind you, this is fucking. Yo, I'm gonna say it again. This is Noah Cyrus. That for whatever reason, she's like, yeah, Harry Styles, also white man. I'm a white woman. Hey, white man, yeah, tell that black woman that she's tell her, snap back to her, and she's a nappy ass hoe as well. It's like, okay, I mean, why did she think that was gonna be cool? I know exactly why she thought that shit was gonna be cool, and that's what's interesting about this. Here's why it was, because Candace Owens is a villain, right? She's the bad guy in this situation that everybody, who's woke, I guess, and those artists will be part of that crew. Like, everybody would be, like, coming at Candace Owens. She's like the devil to them, right? Like, she's the boogeyman, the boogie woman, right? So she thought, like, she probably wrote that down and took a pause. It was like, is this bad that I will be calling a black woman a nappy ass hoe? Maybe under normal circumstances, but in this case, she's the villain. She's the bad guy. She's a bad girl. So, they can't come at me. I'm saying this extremely racist shit to a bad person who's a black woman. So, nobody's gonna come for me. Send fucking Instagram story to the whole world to see. It's just kind of, some people just don't understand real life. Like, I don't think she understands real life. It's like, yeah, I know everybody like hates Candace Owens. She sets a lot of very unpopular opinions. I certainly don't like her because I just feel like she's very similar to Ben Shapiro, and that I feel like they just say whatever it is, like the contrarian belief that, it may be right, but the way they're saying it is very smug. So it's like they're not even like real human beings. They're just walking contradictory opinions. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about both of them. But, just because she's that, it doesn't, listen, that's not higher up in the shit of like issues in this country. You know what's higher up than that? A white woman demeaning a black woman for her nappy hair. I mean, it's just hilarious the shit that happens on social media. It's just hilarious how these like celebrities and just people who live in Instagram and social media in general, like how clueless they are. Like, I have no idea. They just don't understand life. They're very stupid. So it was just hilarious to see her thinking, oh, she's a bad guy. I can say, she's like, right, guys? I can call her an nappy ass hoe. She says all this fucked up shit all the time. You know what I mean? She says all these fucked up things about black people, right? I can say something bad, right? It's like, Noah, you're white. You can't call a black woman an nappy ass hoe, regardless of the context. It's like, I just thought of this example, but it would be like, if she called Candace Owens the N-word and then try to justify it like, yeah, but she's a bad guy, so we can be racist towards her, right? Yo, those are just so fucking stupid, man. How old is she? She's pretty young, right? Let me look it up. Noah Cyrus age. I need to look up how old Noah Cyrus is. Noah Cyrus age. She's like 20. Oh, she's my age. Okay. She's very young, so I guess you can't fault her too much. Forget everything I said. No, she still needs to hear this. I mean, that's fucking crazy. You just say that, regardless of what age you are. But all right, that was a great fucking episode. That was, I mean, it wasn't anything special for episode 99. You would think episode 99 is a special, episode. But the special episode is gonna come next week, episode 100. I can't wait. But yeah, that was a fun episode. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of funny stories that I talked. It felt very cohesive. I'm in one of those moods where like my brain is like, like snapping. You know what I'm saying? It's like in the right places, saying the right shit. But yeah, that was episode 99 of the Empty Opinions podcast. I did all the housekeeping in the front, so I'll see you guys next week for episode 100, which should be a special episode. And then all the guests that I have lined up after that I have in mind at least, are going to be great. And I'll talk about like my expectations for 2021 for this podcast and just this brand in general in a future episode, maybe 101. I don't know. But yeah, until next week, until December the 14th for episode 100. Thank you guys so much for listening and or watching to this podcast. See you guys next week.